Welcome everybody to the Week 7 Pregame Pickem Show. I'm Ryan, Connor, Stuckey, Greg down there at the end. This is brought to you by East Coast Garage Door. So 2 undefeated teams left. We have a new number 1 in the power rankings after a little bit of history last week. So first, let's run down your Pickem standings. First place, yours truly, 29-19. Connor, 3 games back, 26-22. Greg, 22-26. And Stuckey's had a little shorter of a season so far. He sits at 13-17. So let's see if somebody can catch me, and we'll get started. Stranger Danger, Sensual Chocolate. Stranger Danger had a huge win last week. Now they take on a red-hot Sensual Chocolate team. We're going to set it at -5. Connor, who are you going with?
I'm going with Sensual Chocolate on this one.
I'm also going to stay Sensual Chocolate.
I am going Stranger Danger.
And I will go Sensual Chocolate. So, Connor, you're in the minority here. Explain yourself. Or Greg, sorry. Oh, no, Connor, you go ahead.
All right, so like I said, we'll go. I'm picking Sensual Chocolate on this one, and it's a gift to the fans. Starting off the night with the game of the week. Right there at 6 o'clock. And the big thing in this one is that this is the rematch from last year's huge upset in the playoffs when it was the Sensual Chocolate was the then 4-seed Temptations, and they lost to Stranger Danger, who was the 13 seed. Tyler Feldman behind the camera celebrating right now. One of the biggest upsets in Legacy League's playoff history, and it was definitely one that people remembered, and something that Central Chocolate definitely still remembers. They're going to have to come out tonight, and they're going to have to right the ship and get it correct, and have to take down their maybe what we can call their rival in this one, because they got that vengeance coming with them tonight. So I'm going to go Central Chocolate.
Yeah, should be a great game right off the bat. We also have STP and the Untouchables. STP on a little bit of a hot streak as well. We'll put them at -8. Who do we have winning this game?
I'm picking STP in this one.
I'm going STP also.
STP.
Looks like it's STP all the way around. Stuckey, what makes STP stand out?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it a little bit, right? They're hot, right? 3-game win streak for them so far. You know what I mean? They have an easy schedule coming up with Untouchables, and they've had an easy schedule these last 3 weeks. So they're starting to show that dominance, right? And whenever you start off cold like they did in those first 2 weeks, and they started off with 2 losses, and then they started to win out, right? Whenever you can do that, they're finding that confidence right there. With this easy schedule, they're going to build their confidence, go right into the playoffs. So it's important that they're getting these wins toward the end of the season and getting that chemistry. So SCP over the Untouchables tonight.
All right, next up we have our new number 1, No Limit, one of the 2 remaining undefeated teams. They take on a tough Lob 203 team, or maybe we should say a tough Eric Singleton team. And No Limit is going to be favored. We'll have them -9. Can Lob 203 pull off an upset? It looks like No Limit might be a little short-handed this week.
Yeah, even though they're short-handed, I'm just going to take risk the guys that are there and taking No Limit in this one.
I'm willing to take that risk also with No Limit -9.
No limit.
All right, another unanimous one. Connor?
Yeah, it's some big question marks from the rotation on No Limit tonight. We don't know if Howie's going to be there. We don't know if Dadden's going to be there. Terrell or Jalen's always a question mark, So we have to see who's going to show up. But, we got to rely on the guys that are going to show up, Rashawn Hendricks and those boys who, can play both ends of the floor. They're an elite team. They're number 1 for a reason. So this gives it a chance to show off the depth of No Limit if they're short-handed. And Lob 203 is another team that, they need to show off their depth as well. Eric Singleton's been a one-man show, but they got all-stars like Cody DiLeonardo on their team and Paul Miramina, who can put up 10 points a game at least. So they got to get some support if they're going to compete with No Limit, but I'm still picking No Limit in this one.
Yeah, definitely be tested there. Now we have another undefeated team, the Monstars. They're going up against a tough Sports Look team. We'll give the Monstars an 8-point favorite. Who do we see winning this game?
I'm picking the Monstars in this one.
The Monstars definitely cover that spread.
I agree, Monstars.
Another unanimous. I'm going to go Monstars too. Greg, what do you like about the Monstars against Sports Look?
I just really like the addition of Greg Langston with Reggie Stewart. I mean, Reggie Stewart, throughout his career in this league, has taken over games and brought teams to new heights. We saw it from TMC, and now they added Greg Langston, who looks like he arguably is the best player we've ever seen in this league. And you really look at the guys like Brett Cody and Ty Alston. They're some of the best, not role players. They could be starting on any other team, but they take a step back and play a role for this Monstars team that really makes them dangerous. As far as Sports Look, they just need Brian Acevedo to shoot better from 3. He's shooting 26% from 3. He gets that up to 40%. He probably averages 6-9 more points a game, and they're very scary.
All right, now let's go to the other end of the spectrum. Fright time at the bottom of the rankings. They get a tough task against the Throne tonight. We'll give them 25 points, but the Throne might not have Joe Bacciello again, which is a little bit of a tease. They had him back last week, but it looks like he'll be out again. Is 25 points enough even without Bacciello?
I think this is one that all of us were tossing back and forth with the points because it's so big and the throne's shorthanded. But I'm gonna go with the throne on this one.
We talk about that back and forth. I think I'm gonna go with Fright time. I think Throne will win this game, but I don't think they'll cover that 25.
I think the Throne will win by 24, so I'm going to go Fright time just with the spread.
And I think the Throne will win by 26 and just get the spread. Stuck, you started, but what else do you think gives Fright time a chance to at least cover?
Well, the Throne is a team that I look at every week, and it's, are they going to show up this week, or are they going to take a step back? When Bacciello's on the floor, they play tremendous basketball because he draws attention. But when he's not on the floor, what happens, right? These guys, who becomes the playmaker then? You could say the Jean-Baptiste brothers, but they're playing good basketball, and Jacobson can score the basketball, and Stinson does the small things, but nobody really takes command of that team to make sure that they come out of the games with wide wins like they're supposed to, right? A Fright time team, they're weak on the weaker end of the spectrum. So we look at the Throne like, oh, these are one of the better teams, so these should blow them out by 20. But we get to that thing where Bacciello's not on the floor, and then they seems like to lack confidence. So I don't think they'll cover the 25, but I do think they'll win that game.
All right, so from a big spread to no spread at all, let's go to our Pickem game. Sometimes Y finally seems to get a manageable game after a brutal schedule. They take on Flight Club. So like I said, it's a Pickem game. Who are we going with?
I'm just gonna pick Flight Club simply based they're higher in the standings and they got some wins. So Flight Club.
I'm gonna pick Flight Club too. They're longer than sometimes Y, a lot longer.
I'm going to go sometimes Y. Didn't they get the first one?
I'm with you, Greg. I'm going sometimes Y, so back us up here. Why are we right?
This is another hard one. As you just saw, it took me a little. I think in the end, John Lutters is the difference. I think he can control the game. He can shoot. He can pass. He'll do everything. Play defense. But the thing I am worried about from Flight Club is Jacob Miller and Brandon Gutierrez. They're a duo. They're really playing well. They're really shooting very well from three. Jacob Miller is shooting over 40% from three. And they also have the best fan base in the league. I mean, there's the Flint Tropics, but I think in the end it will be very close, but sometimes Y has a little bit more experience that will help them edge out Flight Club.
So now we go to Team Moose. They pulled off history last week, taking down the Brotherhood. Now they get Run TMC, another quality team that's kind of underperforming a little recently, but they played well last week. They just couldn't close it out. So we'll give Moose 10 points, and does Moose keep rolling?
They probably will. They probably will get the win, but with the points, I think TMC's going to be competitive, and I'm picking them with the points in this one.
I think Team Moose is going to roll your boat, gently down the stream.
I'm going Run TMC just with the points. I do think Moose wins this game, but I think it will be a close one.
I'm going to go on that whatever boat Stucky's on there and go with the Moose. So, Stucky,
you going to join my banana boat?
Yeah.
And the only reason I'm on that boat is because they made history last week, right? Whenever you can take a team that has never been beaten and you can beat that team, that gives your team an extra spark, something different and confidence for your club, right? And you talked about closing out the game last week for Run TMC. Run TMC couldn't close games, and that's what Team Moose does really well. They close out games really well. That's why they were able to beat the only undefeated team, the only team to never be defeated. So they close out games well, and Run TMC had struggled. So Team Moose.
All right, sounds good. Next up, Bad Boys and the Double Dribblers. Bad Boys look like a different team. They've added a lot of new pieces. Double Dribblers have that one new piece in Bernard Brantley, but wasn't enough last week. So Bad Boys will be favored by 15 points, and let's see if they're going to win.
Yeah, similar to my last pick, I won't be surprised if the Bad Boys win, but they have a tendency to play down to the level of their opponents. So I'm going to pick the Double Dribblers with the 15 points in this one.
I'm gonna agree with you a little bit because I also do think the Bad Boys play to their competition. So Double Dribblers cover that spread.
No, I agree. I think the Bad Boys will win, but I do think the Double Dribblers cover the spread.
Looks like I'm the only one going with the Bad Boys here, but Greg, what do you like about the Double Dribblers?
I don't know if it's what I like about the double dribblers. I just think that the bad boys, like Connor said, have a tendency to play down to their opponents. You know, I've said in last week's post game, I called them out as they were my most disappointed team. As they do win games, but if you want to be a great team in this league, you know, you see teams like No Limit, the Brotherhood, Flint Tropics have even started doing Essential Chocolate, where you get a poor team like this who they have talent, but you need to make a statement and kind of blow them out of the water and prove to us that you're one of the best teams in this league. And I want to see the bad boys do that before I can pick them and pick them with confidence.
All right, well, then we have Goon Squad and Brotherhood. Brotherhood trying to pick up the pieces, I guess you could say, after their first ever loss in the Legacy Leagues. Might still be missing Russ Payton, taking on a good Goon Squad team who pulled out a nice win last week. And we'll still put Brotherhood minus 12 because, you know, it's a sour taste in their mouth, but let's face it, that's the only loss they've ever had. So is it going to be 2 losses?
Well, if Mike Davis can show up, I think that, you know, they can cover the 12 points. I'm picking Brotherhood.
You ever seen a team play angry? Because these guys are going to come out and they're going to get angry with the rim, right? The rim is their worst enemy tonight, so I think they're going to pull out a win, the Brotherhood.
I agree, Brotherhood.
I agree, but I'm taking Goon Squad with the points. I think it will be a close game, though. I don't like not having Russ Payton. That's probably not an ideal situation for anybody. But, Greg, go ahead and say some more.
Stucky took the words out of my mouth. They're going to be angry, and they're already a team that have players that are different animals. Kevin Rivera's back this week. I heard he had sort of a long-term injury, so I hope it's not too serious. But, I mean, just like Stucky said, they're playing angry, and any team that's angry is scary, but a team with this much talent and with the killer instinct of Mike Davis, and even if Russ Payton shows up, he's angry, one, because he wasn't here for the loss, and everyone's saying, oh, if you were here, you still would have lost. I would be scared if I was the Goon Squad facing them. I mean, Matt Marconi's playing well, Moose is playing well, but they're going to need a lot more to stop an angry Brotherhood team.
All right, and lastly, we'll see if Redemption plays a little angry in this game. They were sloppy in that loss to Stranger Danger. Not taking anything away from Stranger Danger. They played a good game, but Redemption had a lot of turnovers last week. It's not going to get much easier. They have the Flint Tropics tonight, which should be a full squad for them this week after they only had 5 people last week. So we'll put Flint minus 8. Is that enough?
I think with the minus 8, I'm going to take Redemption. I think Redemption has enough to stay competitive, so I'm going to pick them for that reason.
I think I'm just on the Flint Tropics bandwagon. I think I'm just going to ride them all the way out with the minus 8.
Let's get tropical.
I will also get tropical with you guys. So, Connor, you're in the minority here. Explain yourself.
Yeah, Redemption's that team that came into the season with a lot of high expectations. They were the runner-up in the finals, obviously, last year. So, you know, we really expected Redemption to have a good season. And right now, it's sitting at 3-3. They're on that fringe of being looked at as one of those teams that no one really cares about anymore, or they could still be that team that is dangerous and you have to look at when you're scheduled against them. So this game against Flint Tropics is finally that chance for them to prove themselves. Is Redemption back? Are they still that team? Can they compete with an upper echelon team like the Flint Tropics? And they're 2 really deep teams that play fundamentally sound basketball. They don't like turning the ball over on both sides. But I just think Redemption's finally going to show that championship caliber play, and if they don't win, they'll at least keep it within 8, in my personal opinion. So that's the reason why I picked them in this one.
We'll see if they can pull off the statement win. We're less than an hour away from the start of Week 7. We're in the last third of the regular season. Follow us all night, Legacy_Leagues, on Snapchat and Twitter. 2 undefeated teams left. We'll see if there's only 1 or 0 left when we see you on the post-game show later. But until then, enjoy the games.